I felt it before I could explain it. The city's heartbeat took one hard step forward, like Detroit just leaned across the line and dared the league to stop it. And that's why I'm on right now with something that rewrites how defenses line up against us in December. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report. Here's what I'm putting on your screen tonight with zero fluff. The real logic behind adding a true three-down home run back to a contender's offense. How the cap lanes stay clear without breaking the future. The pick math that actually lands a difference maker. The role this move plays on first and second down versus the gotta have it calls, and what the rotation looks like the first 2 weeks in the next 2 months. I'll walk you through personnel groupings, short yardage solutions, pass protection adjustments, red zone sequencing, and the ripple effect on play action. If you live and breathe Honolulu Blue the way I do, ride with me and keep alerts on. I'm going to stack the details that others skip and land it with a straight verdict. Here's the frame. Detroit built this roster to take control early and squeeze games late. We're physical by design. We stack drives and we punish missed tackles. The one place we've demanded even more is explosive balance, the ability to threaten the edge on one snap, dent the A-gap on the next, and punish a linebacker in coverage without substituting. That is why tonight matters. We're talking about a runner whose acceleration snaps angles in half, whose contact balance keeps piles moving, and whose route tree is real, not checkdowns only, but angled, choice, sail, wheel, and screens with timing that turns blockers into runway lights. Drop that into our script and suddenly 2nd and 8 becomes 2nd and 2. And 2nd and 2 is where a coordinator starts playing chess with 2 moves loaded. Let me lay out the promise of the FID before I drop the reveal. Early downs, I stay in 11 personnel and let the threat live in space. Backside split zone with a sift to freeze the end, then counters that punish overflow. If a defense squeezes the C-gap, we bounce. If they widen to protect the sideline, we hit duo and let our interior double teams earn their paycheck. On 3rd and medium, I want the back next to the quarterback to stress the nickel, present a chip look, release late on a delay angle, and punish man coverage that turns its back. 2-minute, the menu opens even wider, draws against light boxes, screens off mirrored slants, and a quick pivot route that steals 6 yards when the sticks need 5. This isn't theory. This is football you can call tomorrow and wins you possessions in January. Now the cost and the calendarless truth, because I keep it grown up here. You don't land a player with juice like this for a souvenir. You pay with a mid-round pick that can climb on playtime, you protect yourself with conditions, and you keep the base number friendly for a team that still plans to keep its core together. The structure matters. No panic spending, no future handcuffs, just a controlled bet on a top-tier skill set stepping into a system built to make it pop. The rotation matters too. Week 1, I'm at 20 to 25 purposeful snaps to sync timing with the line calls and blitz pickups. By week 3, I'm at 35 to 40 snaps with 2 designer sequences per half. Red zone? This is where he turns a defensive call sheet into a menu of bad options. Split flow play action to hold safeties, quick swing to punish overcommitment, and hammer downhill when the front loosens to chase the perimeter. I want to talk about how this flips the math for our receivers. Explosive runs force single high looks. Single high looks give you ISO routes outside. ISO routes outside make back shoulder throws a high percentage business. Add a back who wins the flat with real speed, and linebackers stop undercutting digs. They have to widen, and that opens the middle for the tight end on crossers. That's 3 layers of stress from one addition. And because this player holds his own in pass protection, the coordinator can keep the full menu online on 3rd down. No panic substitutions, no tipped intentions. That's how drives stay alive. Short yardage isn't glamorous, but it wins the visions. Here's how I'd solve it with our new piece. Condense to 12 personnel, motion the slot into a crack look to hold the force player, and run duo behind a double that turns the nose. If a defense outnumbers the box, we check to toss with a force edge read. If they sit heavy, we slice the B-gap with a quick hitter and dare them to fit the run with corners who don't want that smoke. And when it's 4th and 1 from the plus 34, we marry quick snap counts with a downhill call that prevents penetration and lets the back find daylight through contact. You don't need magic there. You need decisiveness and legs that don't stop. This guy has both. Let me zoom out and show you the January picture. Cold weather turns finesse into fiction. You need a runner who carries real violence into the second level and still threatens the sideline. You need a receiver in the backfield who punishes linebackers for peeking into the backfield on play action. You need someone who can take 12 touches and change the game, or take 24 touches and end it. That's the difference between in the dance and one step from the stage. With this move, the minute we get a two-score cushion, our 4-minute offense stops being a formality and becomes punishment. Remember what that does to defenses in the fourth quarter? It breaks tackling angles and turns business decisions into missed tackles. Now, I've teased you long enough. The name is Breece Hall, and the fit is pure gasoline. I'm talking about a back with long stride acceleration that eats grass, vision that strings small creases into explosive plays, and hands that belong on the field in every situation. Put him behind our line, and the first thing you notice is how safeties start creeping down to avoid being the last man to the party. That's when the coordinator calls a glance RPO, and the ball is out for an easy chunk. Put him next to our quarterback on third down, and you stress every rule in a defensive call sheet. Spy him, and your curl window opens. Bracket the slot, and you give him space on the angle route. Green dog him, and you're one block away from a screen that's gone. This is the definition of multiplicative. The addition makes everyone else better without any of them changing who they are. Let me be clear about deployment because the details win. I opened the first game with split zone and toss crack to test perimeter fits. Then I spend a whole series calling gap scheme downhill to see how the interior responds to double teams. Second quarter, I tag jet motion to force the overhang into a bind and throw a screen back to the boundary when he widens. Third quarter, I pull the guard on a counter GT and let Breece set up the second block with that patient first step he uses so well. Fourth quarter, 4-minute offense, I'm calling duo until they prove they can dent it, then I steal an explosive with a play-action shot off the same backfield action. That's how you write a win script. What about touches with our current backs? I keep it honest. I'm not here to hand out ceremonial carries. I'm here to build a rotation that destroys tendencies. Breece eats series that demand edge speed and receiving chops. The hammer stays ready for short yardage and late-game salting, and the changeup gets snaps that punish tired legs. Nobody loses, the defense does. That's the point of stacking strengths instead of trading strengths for names. The locker room sees that, respects it, and leans into it because wins are oxygen. Protection checks matter more than fans think. Breece can fit up a blitzing nickel, redirect with balance, and still leak late for an outlet. That keeps the coordinator aggressive with 5-out concepts when the defense shows pressure but doesn't bring it. It also lets us mess with cadence and protection points to trigger tells. You see a linebacker sugar the A-gap, you know which safety is rotating, and suddenly the quarterback has the green light to punish it with the back releasing into the space vacated by the rotation. That's next-level offense built off a back's mental clock as much as his legs. Now, I want you in this with me before I land it. If you're sitting in my chair, how many touches do you put on Breece in the first 2 games, 22 or 28? Do you want him as the primary on early downs out of 11, or do you think he's deadliest in 21 with motion to mess with gap fits? Drop your exact number below and tell me the one play you want on the first 3rd and 5 of his first game. I'll pin the best call and build a drive off it for our next breakdown. My concise professional read to close this clean: Breece Hall in Detroit gives the offense a second gear that travels in any weather, expands third down answers, and warps red zone math without compromising the future. The role is every down, the cost is manageable, and the impact is immediate. Explosives on demand and a 4-minute personality that ends games on our terms. I'm all in on the football logic and the timing. Now tell me your number, your rotation, and your first call. You and I are building this win plan together. If you value analysis that respects your time and your football IQ, subscribe, drop a like so this reaches more Lions fans, and keep your alerts on. I'll be back with the film breakdown the minute he hits the field in Honolulu blue.